If you are Haitian and relying on temporary protected status, or you have a loved one who is, this is one of those moments where a single court decision can change your entire timeline. Here is what matters. A federal judge ruling has reportedly blocked the planned termination of Haiti TPS that was set to expire on February 3, 2026. That can mean continued protection from deportation and continued ability to work, but it does not mean everything is settled. By the end of this video, you will know 3 things. Number 1, what this court block actually does and what it does not do. Number 2, who is protected right now and who may still be exposed because of details people miss. And number 3, the practical steps you can take today to protect your job, your documents, and your long-term options while the case moves through appeals. Now, one quick framing point before we get into the details. There are a lot of viral posts that use phrases like "law just passed" or "permanent win." Court rulings are not the same thing as a new law, and a block can be temporary or can change on appeal. So we are going to separate what we can say with confidence from what is still developing, and we will keep it plain English. Here is the part most people miss. Even when a court blocks a termination, your day-to-day risk depends on your paperwork, your renewal timing, and whether you have any other immigration issues in the background. So stay with me, because the small details are where people get denied, delayed, or lose work authorization. Based on the brief you provided, what we know is this. There was a planned termination of Haitian TPS with an end date tied to February 3, 2026, and a last-minute federal court ruling blocked that termination. The brief also says there is an appeal associated with the Trump administration. I cannot verify those specifics here in real time, so treat this as a reported update, and always cross-check with official USCIS TPS pages, DHS announcements, and the court docket or reputable legal aid organizations. But we can still explain exactly what a block like this typically means, and what your safest next moves are regardless of how the lawsuit ends. So what changed, in plain terms? TPS is a humanitarian protection that lets certain people from a designated country stay in the United States temporarily, get protection from removal, and apply for work authorization. A termination would normally mean TPS benefits end on a certain date. A court block, sometimes called an injunction, is basically a judge saying the government cannot carry out that termination right now while the case is being decided. That is important because it can preserve the status quo for a period of time. But, and this is critical, it is not a green card, it is not citizenship, and it is not a promise that TPS will exist forever. Think of it like a pause button while the legal fight continues. Now, a micro hook for you. 2 groups are at highest risk of making costly mistakes right after a court block. 1. People who assume they can stop renewing or stop checking notices because they think they are safe. And 2. People who panic and make irreversible decisions like leaving the country without planning, quitting a job, or paying a scammer. We will cover both. Let us talk about who is affected versus who is not, because confusion here is where families lose time and money. Most directly affected: Haitian nationals who currently have TPS under the Haiti designation and who are living in the U.S. and relying on TPS for lawful presence and work authorization. Also affected: employers of Haitian TPS workers, because employment authorization documents and I-9 compliance can get messy when timelines change. Also affected indirectly: spouses and children who rely on the stability that TPS provides, even if they do not personally have TPS. And there is another group, Haitian TPS holders who are also pursuing other pathways like an I-130 family petition, an employment-based process, asylum, or some other application. For them, this court development changes planning and sometimes changes urgency, but it does not replace those other processes. Now, who is not automatically protected or not automatically helped? First, people who are not currently in TPS, meaning you did not apply, you missed a deadline, or you were denied, are not magically granted TPS by a court block. Second, people with certain criminal or immigration history issues can still face serious problems even if TPS continues. TPS has eligibility rules. and immigration enforcement can still happen in other contexts. Third, anyone outside the United States generally cannot use TPS as a way to enter the U.S. TPS is typically about people already here, though there are separate processes like refugee resettlement or visas. Fourth, if your work permit is expired and you have not filed for renewal, or you do not have a valid extension basis, your employer may not be able to keep you on payroll. The court decision does not automatically hand you a new card. This is where people get denied at work, not at the border or at USCIS. Myth versus reality moment number 1. Myth: TPS means you are now legal forever. Reality: TPS is temporary by design. Even when extended or protected by a court order, it can change. You should use any period of stability to strengthen your long-term plan. Now, why is this happening? There are usually two overlapping forces. One is policy. Different administrations and DHS leadership can view TPS designations and terminations differently, and litigation often follows. The other is process. When a termination is announced, lawsuits can argue that the termination process was improper, lacked sufficient justification, or violated administrative law standards. Courts can block actions if they believe there is a serious legal question and that harm would occur if the termination goes forward before the case is decided. Also, timing matters. When an end date is approaching, like February 3, 2026, a judge may treat the immediate harm as urgent because people can lose jobs and be exposed to removal quickly. Here is a key detail. A court block does not always mean DHS agrees with the outcome. It can be appealed, and the government may seek to stay the block. That means the legal landscape can shift again with little notice. That is why your plan should be built around verification and readiness, not assumptions. Let us get concrete about real-world consequences. First, work authorization. TPS holders typically use an EAD to work legally. If the termination is blocked, it may preserve eligibility to keep renewing EADs, or it may maintain validity under an automatic extension framework if one exists. But you cannot assume your employer will understand that without documentation. The safest approach is to check the expiration date on your EAD. Check the USCIS TPS Haiti page for any Federal Register notice about automatic extensions or re-registration windows, and keep copies of everything you file. If you have an employer, talk to HR proactively with official printouts, not screenshots from social media. Second, deportation protections. TPS generally provides protection from removal while TPS is valid, but it is not the same as having a permanent status. It also does not protect you from all enforcement in every context, especially if there are other legal issues. A block on termination can mean the protection remains in place for now, but if the block is lifted later, people who are unprepared can face a sudden shift. Third, travel. This is a big one. Many TPS holders ask if they can travel now that the termination is blocked. Be careful. Travel rules depend on whether you have a separate travel document and whether you can re-enter. Leaving the U.S. without proper authorization can create serious problems. And even with documents, there can be risk at re-entry if policies change while you are away. So if travel is not essential, consider postponing. If it is essential, consider speaking with a qualified immigration attorney and only rely on official documentation. Fourth, long-term plans. A court block can feel like relief, but it can also create a dangerous lull where people stop pursuing other options. If you have a potential family-based or employment-based pathway, or you may be eligible for another form of relief, this is the time to organize and move carefully, not the time to freeze. Myth versus reality moment number 2. Myth: if a judge blocks TPS termination, USCIS will automatically update your status and your EAD without you doing anything. Reality: USCIS usually requires specific steps like re-registration, renewal filings, or relying on a published automatic extension rule. Your obligation is to follow the instructions that apply to your category and keep proof. Let me give you an example scenario, composite and simplified, so you can see how this plays out at work. Example scenario: Marie is a Haitian TPS holder. Her EAD expires in late 2025. She sees news that the TPS termination set for February 2026 has been blocked. She assumes that means she can wait. In January 2026, her employer runs an I-9 re-verification and tells her they cannot keep her on the schedule without valid work authorization proof. Marie now has to scramble, and if there is a renewal window or automatic extension she did not document, she risks losing income for weeks. The better move would have been to check USCIS guidance early, renew on time if eligible, and bring HR an official notice showing any automatic extension rules. Here is the part most people miss. The workplace impact often hits before the immigration impact because payroll and compliance deadlines do not wait for court appeals. Now another example scenario focused on travel. Example scenario. Gene has TPS and wants to attend a family funeral abroad. He hears the termination is blocked and assumes travel is safer. He leaves without confirming his travel authorization and without checking whether his re-entry could be questioned if policies change mid-trip. He returns to the airport and faces delays and stress. This does not mean travel is impossible. It means travel is one of the highest risk areas for TPS holders when rules are changing. Plan like the rules could tighten again quickly, because they can. Now let us move into what to do now. I am going to give you a practical checklist in a do this and avoid this format. Save this section and share it with anyone on TPS. Do this. First, verify the update using primary sources. Check the official USCIS TPS page for Haiti, any DHS announcements, and reputable legal aid organizations that cite the exact court order. If you can, locate the court case information from credible reporting or the court docket. Avoid this. Do not rely on a single TikTok clip, WhatsApp voice note, or a screenshot without a source. Second, do this. Look at your dates. Write down your TPS designation period as you understand it, your EAD expiration date, and any receipts you already have. Make a simple folder, paper and digital, with your approval notices, EAD copies, I-94 if you have one, passport bio page, and proof of continuous residence where relevant. Avoid this. Do not wait until the last 60 days before expiration to figure it out. Third, do this. If you are eligible to renew your EAD or re-register for TPS when USCIS opens a window, file clean and complete. Use the official USCIS instructions and keep your receipt notices. Avoid this. Do not send partial packages or guess at forms. If you are not sure, get help from a qualified attorney or a reputable nonprofit. Fourth, do this. If you work, prepare for I-9 questions. Keep your unexpired EAD and any receipt notices, and print official USCIS guidance on automatic extensions if one applies. Have a calm conversation with HR early. Avoid this. Do not present fake documents, and do not let an employer pressure you into unpaid work off the books because of confusion. Fifth, do this. Be careful with travel. If travel is not necessary, consider delaying until there is more clarity. If travel is necessary, confirm what document you need, confirm your document validity dates, and consider legal guidance. Avoid this. Do not leave the US assuming you can just come back because TPS exists. Sixth, do this. Use this breathing room to evaluate longer-term options. TPS itself is temporary. If you have a family relationship, employer sponsorship possibility, or another humanitarian protection you may qualify for, gather documents and learn the process. Avoid this. Do not pay anyone who promises a guaranteed green card because of TPS. There is no guaranteed path just because you have TPS. Myth versus reality moment number 3. Myth. TPS automatically converts into a green card pathway if the government loses in court. Reality. TPS can help you remain eligible to apply for certain benefits in the sense that you stay present and authorized, but green card eligibility depends on separate laws, separate petitions, and your individual history. TPS can be part of your story, not the whole solution. Now, what should you watch next? This is where appeals come in. The brief suggests there is an appeal. In many cases, an appeal can do a few things. It can uphold the block, it can narrow it, it can pause it, or it can reverse it. Courts can also issue stays that change what happens while the appeal is pending. That is why the smartest move is to treat the current situation as temporary stability with a possible sudden shift. Here are concrete watch points. 1. New USCIS guidance, re-registration windows, EAD renewal instructions, and any automatic extension language typically appear on official pages and Federal Register notices. 2. Court updates. Whether the government seeks an emergency stay, whether deadlines are set for briefs, and whether a hearing is scheduled. You do not have to read legal documents yourself, but you should follow sources that cite them accurately. 3. Demand surges. Whenever there is a major TPS update, filing volume can spike. That can slow processing. So, if you are eligible to file something, earlier and clean is often better than later and rushed. 4. Misinformation. Scammers and bad actors love moments like this. If someone says they can get you a special TPS extension card, a fast-track green card, or a guarantee because of the judge decision, that is a red flag. Ask for their license number if they claim to be an attorney, verify it with the state bar, and be cautious with notarios who are not authorized to give legal advice. Here is a quick, if you are in X group, do Y segment. If you are a Haitian TPS holder with an EAD expiring within the next 6 to 9 months, your priority is to check renewal eligibility and timing and get your paperwork organized now, because processing and employer checks can hit before court appeals are resolved. If you are a Haitian TPS holder who also has a pending family petition or another immigration case, your priority is to make sure you do not miss deadlines in that other case just because TPS feels stable today. TPS and your other case are separate tracks. Myth versus reality moment number 4. Myth. If TPS termination is blocked, ICE cannot detain anyone from Haiti. Reality. TPS provides protection for covered individuals who remain eligible, but enforcement and detention depend on many factors. The safest approach is to keep your documents current, know your rights, and consult qualified help if you have any enforcement contact. Now let us do a calm recap, because the goal is clarity, not panic. 1. A federal court ruling reportedly blocked the planned termination of Haiti TPS that was set to expire February 3, 2026. That can preserve protections and work eligibility for now. 2. A court block is not a new law and not a permanent win. It can change through appeals and further court orders. 3. Your real-world safety depends on your documents, your TPS status, your EAD expiration, and following USCIS instructions. 4. The biggest immediate risk for many people is employment verification and EAD timing, not a sudden knock on the door tomorrow. 5. Use this time to build a longer-term plan, because TPS is temporary even when it is extended or protected by litigation. If you want, comment with your situation in general terms like Haitian TPS, EAD expires month and year, and whether you are planning travel or dealing with an employer question, and I will make a follow-up video that walks through the most common scenarios. And if this kind of calm, step-by-step immigration update helps you, subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next change, especially if there is an appeal update or new USCIS guidance. Stay organized, verify everything with official sources, and do not panic. You have time to plan if you use it wisely.